Hello! Today we're talking all about Daring Greatly by Brene Brown. Hello! Today we're talking all about Daring Greatly by Brene Brown. Now, if you haven't checked out this book yet, I really encourage you to do so. Hello! Today we're going to talk about Brene Brown's Daring Greatly. If you haven't read it yet, I encourage you to do so. As a continuous improvement facilitator, it's going to improve your leadership and your change management skills. Now, in this book, what Brene talks about is trust, vulnerability, and shame. I know, it makes you want to run the other direction. Me too. I totally understand. And as Brene shares in the book, she understands as well. That conversation around shame, around guilt, becoming vulnerable and willing to talk about some of these challenges and some of these feelings, a lot of us just wince just thinking about it, right? But as continuous improvement facilitators, we are asking people to trust us. Sometimes we're asking them to trust us with things that are very, very valuable and personal to them. Sometimes even things that define their self-worth. So in this book, Brene helps us break down some of those challenges that people go through as they're becoming vulnerable, as they're becoming willing to share this information with us. And as a result, this becomes a fantastic read if you're a continuous improvement facilitator. First of all, one of the things that we always talk about are mistakes, right? People make mistakes. It's part of being human. It's part of who we are. Who's excited to raise their hand and say they've made a mistake? Nobody. It's a vulnerable place to be. So in Brene's book, she does a wonderful job of breaking down some of those challenges that we have around sharing our mistakes, around trusting others, and making sure that others have earned the right to hear our stories. Which means that for us as continuous improvement facilitators, saying that we want to change or improve, this isn't a big grand gesture. This isn't a one-time event. This isn't a poster session where everybody comes in and we all talk about projects or improvements. This is something that takes time. Over and over and over again, it takes time. And in the same way, each time we could betray that trust, and each betrayal is going to take away, right? So as continuous improvement facilitators, I see myself as the voice of the process. Now, sometimes that means that management doesn't agree with what I have to say. But sometimes that also means that I have to stand up and be that voice because other employees are watching that and seeing that, and they've been saying things for years and haven't been heard, right? So you get to be the actual voice of the process here. But to learn the voice of the process, you sometimes have to overcome the challenges that people have sharing what's actually going on. So Brene's book is fantastic about giving you some ideas on how to do that and really understanding what it means to be vulnerable and share. Now, as much as we all want to share all of these things, at least some of us, we tend to overshare. And she talks about this as well. This is called floodlighting. And when we floodlight, what we do is we shine too much information. We share too much with people that haven't earned the right to hear it. And as a result, we can lose people that way as well. So if you've ever overshared, talked about maybe a process that was driving you crazy, maybe the DMV or the doctor, to a classroom of Lean Six Sigma students and had them all look at you a little confused or uncomfortable, this is exactly what she's talking about. Now, in the same way, we want to look out for our participants and make sure that they're comfortable and in good places. One thing that stood out to me this time when I read this book was self-worth, was people that really see their job as associated with their self-worth. So when we're asking people where the mistakes are, where the problems are, they don't just see it as a problem with the process, but they can internalize that and feel like it's something attacking at who they are as a person, as what value is. What we're also doing is asking them to risk a lot. We're asking them to risk their sense of belonging within the group at work. Sometimes sharing these things or talking about these details can feel like they're betraying others on their team, or they can feel like it has the potential for others to be angry at them. And this is something that we really always are navigating in continuous improvement, is this sense of belonging. And so as you kind of realize some of these things when you're reading the book, you can think about how you can incorporate that into your practice so that you can make your spaces safer for people to share. Now, the other thing that I'll call out just before I kind of wrap up here is the 10 questions that she has for management. So 10 questions to ask about organizational culture at your business, your organization, right? So these 10 questions are fantastic. If you haven't had a practice of asking these, I really encourage you to start doing so. If you have asked these, you might see in these different questions aspects of questions that you've asked, because all of these really align really well with continuous improvement questions. So if you've ever done an assessment at a business, you might recognize some of these, or you might realize, hey, you've missed one. Maybe this is something you want to put into your practice. So finally, I'll just let you know that we do a book club at Beautiful Opportunities. We try to do one book a month. Next month is Toyota Way. So if you're able to join us for our next book club, we look forward to having you. The 10 questions for this month's book club are actually in the description. So if you want to take a look at those while you're reading the book, they might be good things to think about. Or maybe if you're doing a book club at your company, these might be questions that you want to ask. Thanks for listening. Have a great day.